what is a skill? And I spoke to a lot of people, and people would give a definition similar to this, which is actually from the dictionary: the ability to do something well through years of practice, training, etc. At this point, I connected the dot to something that I've been doing for several years, which I call transformative delegation. Instead of the traditional mode of delegating tasks, I would delegate problems. And I found that the capabilities of my teammates advanced very quickly, which led me to the observation that a skill is nothing but an ability to solve a certain problem or a certain class of problems consistently well. Let's take the same example of corporate storytelling. Why would I learn the skill of corporate storytelling? Because I want to communicate effectively or I want to influence the audience. So at the other side of every skill, there is a problem. Now, I haven't found an exception to this rule. So if you come across any, please let me know. Now, this might explain why the 20-something founders and successful CXOs and the illiterate verger do so well. Because of their ability to spot and solve business problems extremely well. That led me to what is the nature of problems, and I came across a beautiful metaphor that my fellow mentor Sanjay Radhakrishnan uses. And he says he learned it from Tom Chi. On the left-hand side, you have what are called as shrink wrap problems. The information to solve the problem is contained within it. Example is x plus 2 equal to 5, find x. Now it turns out that we would have solved thousands of such problems by the time we graduate out of college. Whereas when we come to business, we find the problems hard to solve because they are of this nature: x plus y plus z plus question mark. You don't even know what the variables are, what the equation is. And if you take something like digital transformation, which is extremely complicated, the problem gets harder. So this is why we call these phenomena, because you have to draw skills from multiple domains to solve these problems. Now, as I was thinking further, I made an interesting observation. On the left-hand side, the context is agnostic. That is, x plus 2 equal to 5 will yield the same result whether you are in Timbuktu or in Antarctica. Whereas on the right-hand side, context is supreme. The same equation in one context will be completely different in a different context. And then I extend that further to the 5 key dimensions of problems: context, complexity, scale, scope, and risk. On the left-hand side, all of them are the same. You might say this problem is complicated for people that don't know algebra, but the level of complexity is the same. So if you look at the current school of thought of learning from experts, it works very well on the left-hand side. But when you want to do the same thing on the right-hand side for something like digital transformation, it doesn't work because all the 5 dimensions are different and the context is different and so on. This explains why I had this epic disaster in corporate storytelling, because my context and my experience was vastly different from what my mentees' context and experiences were. Which is why we want to promote a new school of thought, which I have described before in this series, of the Pheno-BL and fractal routines. In our model, what you do is you choose an ambitious business outcome or problem. Ambition is necessary for inspiration as well as to drive learning. If you chose a reasonable outcome, drive for learning doesn't really occur. You then learn the fractals that are needed. These are micro skills or Lego blocks, as I've talked about in the past. Envision a MVP, a zoom in MVP in your work context, in the flow of work, and choose a low risk area as you're building this skill. And then execute the MVP. Then you change all the 5 dimensions of the problem as time progresses in a series of zoom out MVPs, and you hit the ambitious business outcome. Over time, you can routinize the fractal and become an expert in it and build the higher order skills that are needed. This is the new school of thought that we are promoting and enabling our clients with in the area of digital transformation. And I think you can apply this more broadly to any soft skill that you're learning.